Welcome back to Cooking with Glenn and Kati.
Today we'll make a pumpkin roll. I was at Nana's Soul Food Kitchen with my cousin Jenny and her son David, and we were talking and she said, well, what are you going to cook this week? Now she watches our show every week, Kati, and David does too. And I said, well, I don't know. She said, well, why don't you make pumpkin roll, because you've been making some pumpkin recipes. And I said, sounds good. And she says, pull out my recipe book. So this is her recipe book. Mom and Dad had it and they gave it to me, and I love this book. She's got so many excellent recipes in it. And so I followed the recipe and I made one, and then I made another one, and I learned how to do it. And so I'm gonna teach you how to do it.
Dad says it tastes amazing, so I am looking forward to learning how to make it myself and taste test it for you guys on this video and let you know my honest opinion. But I have no doubt that it's a winner. Dad says it is and Jenny says it is, so I can't wait to give it a try. Are you ready to get started?
I am. Let's get started.
Okay.
Okay, we'll start making the pumpkin roll. The first thing we need to do is we'll need to make the cake part. And to do that, I'm using a cookie pan. It's got a lip on it. And I've got a piece of parchment paper, and I folded it to this size here. Now it's very important to get the exact size pan that you need, and it's 10 inches wide by 15 inches long. So again, 10 inches by 15 inches, and you have the paper going all the way to the edges. But first we need to get a little bit of spray to spray on the sides. I just took the parchment paper out and I'm going to spray around the edges, so it will not stick when it comes out. Okay, so I've got the parchment paper in here perfectly, so it's ready for the cake batter. The first thing I'm going to do is put the dry ingredients together and mix them up. So the dry ingredients include flour. This is all-purpose flour. All-purpose flour. And then I have pumpkin pie spice. So I have a 3/4 cup of flour, and I've got 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, and I have 1 teaspoon of baking powder. This is baking powder. And now I'm just going to take it, and I'm going to make sure it's evenly distributed, mix it up, and I'm going to set it aside until I'm ready to pour it in the wet batter. Now that I've mixed the dry ingredients, I'm going to add eggs. And these eggs came from my chickens today, so I'm going to go ahead and use these. Aren't they pretty? I always like to crack each egg in a bowl here. Make sure it's in good order, that there's no shells. So I'm going to pour this in here. I'm going to do it for 2 more times. And with the eggs, I'm going to pour a cup of sugar. So I'll blend it for about a minute or 2. Now that I've blended the sugar and the eggs, I'm going to add pumpkin. 2/3 cup of pumpkin, which is 1/2 of this can. So here's the first 1/3 cup. Put this in here. Then I'll get another 1/3 cup and add it. So you can make 2 pumpkin rolls out of 1 can of pumpkin. So I'm going to put this in here. I'm going to blend this together. Now I'm going to pour the batter on the pan, and then I'm going to spread it out and we'll put it in the oven. I go through and I will just kind of go down like this go around, just around the edges, staying about 1.5 inches from the edge. Don't want to get too close. And that way we don't have to spread it out as much. It kind of is going on here. Now going over to the edges closer now. And now the next thing I do, and this is very important, is to get it all the way to the edge. So I'm just using the back of a spoon, and I'm spreading it out so it goes all the way to the corners. That's what we want. I did a pretty good job on putting it in here, and it's touching the corners, and that's the reason, or the edges, it's touching the edges. That's one reason we needed the spray so it wouldn't stick. So there we go, we've got it here. Now to make sure that's totally flat, I take the pan, and I drop it down a few times. So this is all ready. Everything's flat and it's time to put it in the oven. So you're cooking it 15 minutes on 375 degrees Fahrenheit.
While the cake is baking in the oven, we're gonna go ahead and make the cream cheese filling. And to do so, we're gonna start with 8 ounces of softened cream cheese and put it in a mixing bowl. So we're gonna go ahead and get that in there. And then we're gonna take a 1/2 stick of softened butter, put that in there. And then finally, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And what I'm gonna do next is beat these together with my beaters before adding in one more key ingredient, powdered sugar. I like to go slow first, just to get everything so it doesn't go crazy. And then once everything starts blending together a little bit, then I'll start turning my beater up a little bit higher. Look at this, the butter, cream cheese, and vanilla are blending together perfectly. Now to add my favorite ingredient, powdered sugar. This is just going to make the filling. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 1 cup of powdered sugar in a sifter and sift it in before I mix it with the cream cheese, butter, and vanilla. The reason I'm sifting the powdered sugar in is to get any clumps out, because once you mix the powdered sugar with a wet ingredient, such as the butter and cream cheese and the vanilla, it's just, you know, of course, it's not wet ingredients, but it's definitely not dry ingredients. Once you blend it all together, if there are clumps, it most likely will stay clumpy. So you don't want clumps all throughout your pumpkin roll. So that's why I'm sifting this, so you don't have any clumps of powdered sugar, just clumps of filling. It'll all be smooth. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and get to mixing this. So powdered sugar is so light, it likes to jump out of any bowl it's ever put into and go whoosh. I don't know if you can see it right now, but there's a little bit of powder coming out. So you gotta take your time with powdered sugar. Y'all, this is turning into a delicious cream cheese filling. Now I'm gonna mix this till this is all together, and I'll show you the finished product.
Beautiful. Found that 15 minutes is just about perfect, but you may want to check your oven. It could be a little bit less, but probably not more. Okay, and I'm just going to go down the edges around it. Most of it's pulled all the way out, so it's okay. It's all the way over. Okay. Yes. Oh, this is great. This side's already done too. So what I'll do is I will lift this up here from one of the edges, and I'll get underneath this. I'll sit it right here. So I'm gonna let it cool on the cooling rack. It's been about 2 minutes, and I'm gonna roll it up. It's very important that you roll this up when it's warm because the cake has a memory and you want to get it so that it feels like it's already a roll when you start working with it. So here goes. I'll take it and I'm gonna take this edge right here that I have and I'm just gonna put it like that. And then I'm going to roll up this. Like this. I'll roll it up. It can be kind of warm. Okay, it can be kind of hot. That's hot, so there you go. That's what you want to do. You want to put it in a roll and you let it sit until it cools, which is about 30 to 45 minutes. And then we can put the icing on it.
Now that I've got the roll unrolled, I'm gonna go ahead and put dollops of the icing or the filling on top. That way I can go ahead and spread it around. So I'm just gonna take my spatula and dollop right around here, going straight down the middle first, and then I'll add it to the sides before I start spreading it all around. As you can see, I've already started using my spatula to spread the icing around. So I'm just gonna keep on going around to the edges throughout the entire cake. I spread out the icing, so now it's time to roll it up. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the end and just take my time with it. And it might stick a little bit to the parchment paper on the outside, so as you roll, you'll just want to pull any pieces that are stuck to the parchment off with your finger. It's pretty easy. Well, y'all, the pumpkin roll is all wrapped up in the saran wrap and ready to go in the fridge for 2 hours. It smells delicious, it looks delicious. I don't know if I can wait the whole 2 hours to eat it, but I guess I'm gonna have to. So, after the 2 hours in the refrigerator, we're gonna pull it out and go ahead and sit down at the table, bring you along with it so we can cut it and give it a taste test.
I've unwrapped the pumpkin roll after being in the refrigerator for 2 hours. The edge is not the prettiest in the world, that's what it looks like. So the first thing I do is I cut the 2 edges off. I just get probably about a 1/2 inch and I cut it on both sides. I'll put this in the plate. Now look at it. Look how pretty that is. So I'll go ahead and cut a piece off of here. This is a serrated knife. So it cuts through the cake a little bit better. Look how pretty that is. I'm gonna cut one for me. And here's mine. Now this is perfect with milk or coffee. I love it. In fact, I love it in the morning instead of a coffee cake or something or a cinnamon roll. Pumpkin roll is perfect. Now I've made a number of these this week to make sure I knew how to show you how to do it, and so I know it's good. Oh, it's excellent. I love the bread, I love the sweetness, I love cream cheese and vanilla and sugar. Can't beat it.
Mmm. Just like Dad said, that's a perfect treat, either as a dessert or as a sweet breakfast. I'm not a coffee drinker, but with milk, amazing. Oh my goodness, that icing is to die for. You could just like eat that by itself. But then with the pumpkin cake, it's heaven. You definitely need to try this if you haven't. So refreshing, delicious, comforting, everything rolled up into one. When you're entertaining, if you want to make your pumpkin roll a little more fancy, you can add some sifted powdered sugar to the top. Whether you want to put the sifted powdered sugar on the whole roll or on one slice at a time, it's up to you. Whichever you prefer, I'm sure it'll look beautiful. But just to show you, I'm taking one slice right here, and I've already sifted some powdered sugar into this small sieve of mine. And so what I'm gonna do is just tap the sieve with my hand and get some powdered sugar right on top. And it can just add a little bit of a snow essence to the top of your pumpkin roll, blending the season. Oh my goodness, you guys. As I said during the taste test, that was an absolutely delicious pumpkin roll, and I'm so glad that I know how to make it now.
Thanks to Jenny. Jenny, I loved it. This cookbook is excellent. So if anybody's interested in getting a copy, just let me know and I'll give you the information, or I'll forward it to Jenny.
Yes, and so going with that, if you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give a thumbs up and comment below whether you're interested in purchasing one of Jenny's cookbooks or any other comments that you have. We'd love to hear from you guys. And if you haven't subscribed, please be sure to do so and make sure to click the notification bell so you're updated on all of our new episodes. And we will see you guys next week. See ya.